Hi students, if you're watching this video, that means that you are ready to test your knowledge on last night's reading of chapter 13. I hope you read. This chapter begins by starting off. It says, days went by and weeks. Jonas learned through the memories the names of colors, and now he began to see them all in his ordinary life, though he knew it was ordinary no longer and would never be again. That's a very, very powerful statement. And remember, yesterday we talked about foreshadowing. So this is a little bit of foreshadowing right here, because this definitely kind of hints at Jonas's life is going to be changed because he's receiving these memories. I am going to stop and ask you several questions about last night's reading. You don't really have a lot of time to go back and reread or skim through, so you really need to know the information. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So you just answered a question, and the question was, what is the most important reason the community went to sameness? It was to eliminate choices and prevent community members from making the wrong choices. So you see in the text right here, when Jonas is having a conversation with the giver, he says, but now that I can see colors, at least sometimes, I was just thinking, what if we could hold up things that were bright red, bright yellow, and could choose instead of the sameness? And the giver answers he might make wrong choices. Oh, Jonas was silent for a moment. Oh, I see what you mean. It wouldn't matter for a new child's toy, but later it does matter, doesn't it? We don't dare to let people make choices of their own. So, for example, because they don't have like skin color, then maybe, you know, how some people think that it's wrong to be with a different race. They may make a choice to be with someone different, but they have eliminated that. So there's no such thing as a right or wrong choice of a person, or of choosing like to fight or anything like that. The next question that you just answered, it says, what does Jonas do without the giver's permission and could cause real confusion if it would have worked? Jonas actually tries to transmit memories to his friends and family members. The other question you had to answer was why. As you can see right here in the text, he sees Asher and he says he tried without asking permission from the giver because he feared or knew that it would be denied. He tried to give his new awareness to his friends. Asher Jonas said one morning, look at those flowers very carefully. They were standing beside a bed of geraniums planted near the Hall of Open Records. He put his hand on Asher's shoulder and concentrated on the red of the petals, trying to hold it as long as he could and trying at the same time to transmit the awareness of red to his friend. Geraniums are flowers, and he really wants, like, I mean, you like to share things with your friends, especially if it's something good news, and so on and so forth. So he's trying to share some of the memory with Asher. He also tries to do the same thing with Lily, and he winds up having to actually apologize to Lily, because he hurt her in trying to transmit the memory of the elephant to her. It says right here, it says, but his father had continued to comb Lily's long hair, and Lily, impatient, had finally wiggled under her brother's touch. Jonas, she said, you're hurting me with your hand. I apologize for hurting you, Lily. Jonas mumbled and took his hand away. Accept your apology. Lily responded indifferently, stroking the lifeless elephant. So she didn't even realize it didn't work. He couldn't transmit the memory of the elephant to him that the giver had just given him. And she went back to doing what she was doing before. I mean, and basically unknowing, not knowing anything. He basically wants to transmit these memories because he wants to share these experiences with his friends and family and the people that he's beginning to actually care about. Another question that you just had to answer, it says the giver and Jonas have a conversation about applying for a spouse. And Jonas asks the giver about does he have a spouse, and he said yeah, he did have a spouse, and he said Jonas could actually have a spouse too. So the question says, why would it be difficult for Jonas to actually have a spouse? And the answer is Jonas cannot share the memories with anybody. He can't even share the books. And couples usually discuss everything, which would make it very difficult for Jonas to just be with someone else. So that's the reason why the giver basically tells him that it wouldn't be a good, it wouldn't be as easy as he thinks it would be. The next question, it says, which piece of evidence best supports that the community will not change? And you should have chosen this one right here. Life here is so orderly, so predictable, so painless. The community has basically standardized everything, eliminated choices and memories. All of their needs and are basically taken care of by the elders, and this keeps everything running smoothly. And change would actually disrupt their utopia. And you know, remember, utopia means perfect worlds. But if you've been really thinking about the reading, and all the things that are not in the community, what do you think? Do you think this is really a perfect world? A world without colors, a world without choices, a world where you don't actually have your own children? So just think about that. The next question that you had to answer. It says, what is the one clear indication that Jonas's community is actually a dystopia and not a utopia? The giver adamantly admits to Jonas that his instructors know nothing. They only know facts and what they have been instructed to teach. But without the memories, they have no basis or examples to ground their teaching. And Jonas is really kind of shocked by this, because he relies on his instructors to give him the information and knowledge that he needs, and the giver is basically kind of discrediting everything that the instructors know. So this makes it a dystopia because Jonas thinks that these instructors are really like kind of perfect people and perfect teachers, and they know everything, and he knows all this stuff because they've taught him everything, but they really don't know anything because they don't have the memories. They just have been given a bunch of facts. So kind of think about you being in school. I mean, if we just gave you a list of facts to kind of memorize, would that really be helpful for you? Probably not. You would probably be able to memorize and regurgitate those facts. But when you had to actually use it somewhere else, it wouldn't be very helpful if you didn't know how to use those facts, or how to have a discussion, or how to use those formulas for a different problem, so on and so forth. And the last question, about chapter 13, it says, on some days the giver would send Jonas away. Why? What was Jonas's solution for this? The giver would send Jonas away because he was in a great deal of pain from all of the memories that he was carrying. Remember, we had a conversation one time about, all of us having different experiences and different memories. And we've all been to a funeral. We've all experienced death. We've all probably been to a wedding. We've all probably, had some tragedies in our family. Just imagine one person holding all of those memories. So sometimes the giver is in a great deal of pain. Jonas's solution to the giver at the very end of the chapter is he tells the giver to give him some of the painful memories so he would no longer have to bear the burden. And one of the most important parts that you need to really pay attention to in chapter 13 is where the giver says, right here, he says, all right, the giver said after a moment, I've decided we'll start with something familiar. Let's go once again to a hill and a sled. He placed his hand on Jonas's back. I'm sorry, I skipped. It's really this part. It says, lie down. It's time. I suppose I can't shield you forever. You'll have to take it all on eventually. So he has decided that he has to start giving Jonas not only the good memories and memories of things that used to be in the community, but he starts to give him some of the more painful memories now as well. This educator will be for a grade. I hope you did well on chapter 13, comprehension check. You can start reading chapter 14.